And welcome everyone. I'm so happy that we have another The Present show as usual, and I'm happy because we it's 2 weeks without. We just had last week I met with Pat, but it was very short, and I really miss this kind of conversation with our guests to talk about their own mindful journey. And here with us today, as usual, we have Mindful Pat. Ciao, Pat.
Ciao, everyone.
But most importantly, not because it's like I have less pleasure to see Pat. I always have pleasure to see you, man. But most importantly, because our guest of today is Leanna. So, ciao, Leanna. Welcome to the Present
Hi.
Show. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm well. How are you?
So all is going well in the normal day normally, but there is also a mindful side of every single of our day. So I'm wondering if you can tell us something more about this in you. So since you discovered or heard about mindfulness, how your journey continued since then, what are you doing, what are you trying, and tell us also something about you as such, what you're doing. Where are you from?
All right. So I am actually in New York City. That's where I'm based out of. And my first encounter with mindfulness was with you, Patrick. My team hosts work-life integration series for GBS North America. And one of the topics we did in February was on mindfulness. And of course, you and Patrick did an outstanding job. And I had never considered mindfulness before doing that topic. So for me, it was really interesting to learn how you can be more self-aware and reduce a stressful situation by employing some of the tactics that you taught us. And one of those that I actually use now was mindful breathing. So when I get stressed, I have a tendency to just take a big breath, hold it, and then all the time. So I've become more self-aware of when I am breathing like that. And I concentrate on slow, even breathing. And it actually brings my heart rate down, lowers my stress level, and grounds me. Another thing that has helped that Patrick spoke a little bit about is kind of becoming an outside observer to own emotions. And that has served its purpose plenty of times when I've gotten really stressed out at work. So I generally just take a step back, is the outcome of this going to lose lives? Are people going to die if I don't get this done? No. Okay. Take a step back, breathe. Everything's going to be fine. And it's helped a lot. I've definitely been able to reduce stress levels throughout my day. So thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing. So is the nobody's bleeding around us tale, right? That reduces the sense of urgency of certain things, and you can still have not only some minutes more to perform anything, but also some minutes more of life that you're not losing by being so stressed that you absolutely have to do your own things exactly in that moment. So that's good to hear. Pat.
And Leanna, is the heavy breathing your trigger to start focusing more on the breath?
Mm-hmm. As soon as I hear myself with that big sigh, it's like, okay, Leanna, let's concentrate on evening this out.
Good. And there's a lot of different ways or different triggers that people have. I recently was surfing off the coast of West Africa, and one of the surf instructors over there, he was telling us a story about how one of his students is very scared of swimming. And every time she gets into the water, she just starts panicking, right? She could be knee deep and so he said, when you get into the water, tap yourself on the head and relax, and then start swimming. So she got to the point where now she walks into the water, she taps herself first on the head, and then she starts swimming. So for some people, the trigger can be the breath. For others, it could be a word. For somebody else, it could be a tap on the head.
Mm-hmm. So it means that in that tap, that big breath is bringing you into the present again, right? So that you start feeling your body, your position, your everything around, and that helps you much more to, face that particular situation.
There was even, and I probably mentioned this sometime back, but Leanna was saying about how you kind of observe yourself, because that's really, I guess, the only thing that we can manage is our reactions, right? If the boss is yelling at us, we don't really have much control of them starting to yell at us, or if the weather changes, or if the car breaks in front of us, or whatever it is. But we can manage our reaction to it. And that's when we can say, okay, it's not the end of the world. This isn't anything big. I'm going to be able to relax. And I heard there's a quote out there that says, from the stimuli, from the outside world, and our reaction to it, there's a space. Mm-hmm. And in that space is all of our freedom. So we decide what we do with what happens to us, I guess.
And Leanna, did you also find any, so on top of the practice and the reduction of stress, let's say in certain situation, did you also find around you in some of who attended those sessions, or some of your colleagues, any difference in their behavior, or they started adopting mindfulness? What did you observe?
So I'm glad you asked that. That session that we hosted on mindfulness had a ton of positive feedback. I think it was something that people didn't realize they needed. And then when it was presented, they're like, this is amazing. And actually, one of my colleagues, who is not on my team anymore, but he watched the session. And now every time I see him, he mentions mindful versus mindful. That is the biggest takeaway he got. And he was just like floored, because he never thought of it that way. Are you mindful or are you mindful? And he loves it. And he tells it to everyone he sees. So it's really great seeing that impact.
Nice.
Pat, can you give more deeply vision about the difference between mindful or mindful?
I can. So we see my board.
Yeah.
So we have a person walking,
mm-hmm.
and another person walking. And there's a tree, 2 trees. This person is thinking about the past, the present, the future, everything that's going on. And this person is focused on the trees. So both of the people are mindful, but this person's mind is full of everything but what's happening right now in their present. It's like a play with words.
Yeah, but at the end, within that word, there is a lot. So thank you. I knew you were, over satisfying the expectation on the graphic. Pat, thank you so much. But this is all what is mindfulness about, right? So who is watching the present show maybe for the first time in this episode today? This is all what is mindfulness. So what Leanna shared is, in like first time we met each other was no more than a couple of months ago, right? So, and you already, after a couple of months, you can already bring some kind of beneficial practice into your everyday, and you will be able then to see the 2 trees instead of being messy with everything that is happening in your life, but nothing that is happening right now, right? And that's not only beneficial for your moments, because you can, snap more memories in that particular moment happening, but also for what you're doing at the same time. Question for Pat: how simple is it? Right, because Leanna, there might be also consideration who is joining mindfulness. Yeah, but then you need to attend some courses or do, I don't know, YouTube, a lot of tutorials and so on. Instead, I think it's very simple. But what do you think?
Well, maybe before I answer that, Leanna, you were saying that it made a big impact on your team. Was it very complicated for them, the concepts, or what do you think about the simplicity of it?
I think the reason why it was so impactful is because it's so simple. Um, and that's the beauty of it. I personally don't think I've ever had much more formal training than you and Lele, but I've been able to incorporate some of the tips and tricks that you've taught in my own life. And there is a benefit, and it doesn't take a lot of my time. I mean, I think we're all very busy professionals. So finding time to take out of our daily schedules might not seem like an easy task, but it's very simple. If I can do it, then I feel like anyone can do it.
A lot of times we try to complicate things to make them sound more fancy or sophisticated, and there are schools that will teach you that it's really complicated and that there's different levels and stages and things like that. But these concepts across the board, and Lele and I have been talking with people from around the whole world, and based on the literature and just personal experience, it is really simple. It's just being present and getting into that state as often as possible. There's a new TED Talk, so if anybody goes on TED.com, and the lady's talking about mindfulness, and based on her research, 50% of the time when you're talking to someone or you're giving a presentation, people will not pay attention. Like they'll zone out for a second because they'll think about what you're saying, or they'll remember something, or a noise will distract them. So just practicing mindfulness to get you into, like Lele's saying, having more moments is really key and really crucial. So trying to make it more complicated than that, it really just takes you away from experiencing the now. So
true, and you will end up like me, that now every time I'm talking with someone or I'm doing a presentation, I'm really feeling that I'm paying attention much more. And I was the daydreamer, right? I was the guy that was always lost in mind, generally. That was like what my mom has been always telling me since I was a little kid, right? Come on, listen to me. You cannot just always think about something. So you can find quickly certain benefits, but I think that the only difference between, I don't know, Patrick and Leanna, and this is only the time that Patrick spent practicing, and Leanna will spend practicing maybe in the next days and so on.
Yeah, but so like maybe this will sound a bit far-fetched, but this present moment that we're experiencing right now, all three of us, it's there. It's always there. So we're always experiencing it. I mean, it's not that when I'm in the present moment, I have a better experience or I'm more. I mean, you're the same as I am, Lele and Leanna, so it's, to say that there's like levels of experiencing it is very difficult for me to understand. But yeah, I get it, Lele. I guess the more time you spend in it. But if anybody's listening also, you're passionate about something, or you spend a lot of time, I don't know, outdoors or committed to a hobby, then you experience presence very often. Mm-hmm. So it's just sometimes just becoming aware of the fact that you've already been present.
Right. You see things differently. Like, I don't know, for example, I've been studying filmmaking, right? And at the university. And now for part of my job is to edit videos and record videos. I see when I watch a movie, many times I don't care about the script. I care about the framing, the light, and I look into different things that maybe who is just watching that movie. And it's only because my attention goes in certain things because I have different kind of knowledge and I'm of those particular things, right? So I guess it could be considered in the same way how you're looking at your present. And if you are more trained in looking at your present, you might see more things of your present than normally.
I would agree with that because I mean it's the same with anything, right? If you don't know something, you don't know what you don't know. But if you know a little bit about something, you have an idea of what you don't know. And if you know a lot of something, then you have a much better understanding of what you do know. and what you could potentially know. So I think that's where the levels come in.
I like
I might be
Socrates.
at the second phrase.
I like Socrates' quote about this is, all that I know is that I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now, but what I know is that now we have time for mindful minute. But
okay, we'll do a little breathing technique. We'll do it like several rounds, and I'll basically just count to 7. Then we'll hold the breath for like 3 seconds. You'll release the breath for 7 seconds. You'll have all the air out of you for 3 seconds, and then we'll continue in a loop like that. So it's just inhale counted, exhale counted with pauses. And you'll notice that you start getting anxious as you're holding the breath longer, and you'll start thinking and worrying and stressing. So just really try to calm yourself, calm your mind and your body with the breath. Okay, so close your eyes. Take a big inhale. Big exhale, letting everything out. And inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold. 2, 3. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 2, 3. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold. 2, 3. Exhaling. 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding. 1, 2, 3. Inhaling. 1, 2, 6, 7. Hold. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2, 3. And now just breathe in and out on your own. And we could open our eyes. Incorporating counting into breath work is a nice practice. You know, getting up to 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
yeah. And what do you think about the number, or you imagine the number? How is this? How is your thinking of the numbers when they're counting?
When I'm saying it,
Yeah.
I see like a 1 and then a 2.
Yeah.
And then I have to I can't say it the whole time. That's why there was pauses, because I start running out of breath.
Cool. So that's actually, I always recommend as well when when I'm very, very distracted and my mind is wandering more, I always count, because that helps me much more to focus on the breathing, because the counting is really helpful a lot. So thank you a lot, Pat, for sharing the mindful minute. Thank you, Leanna. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Leanna.
Thank you.
Good to
to
see you
meet you
again.
guys again.
This concludes the present show of today. So see you in a week. Until then, don't forget to be mindful. And Pat, as usual, your last word is yours.
It'll just be a breath.